Good evening, VV Nation. Ron Wheeler, manager of options trading here, and it's my pleasure to bring you tonight's special presentation, How to Have a Winning Mindset. So let's jump in. Our ultimate goal as a trader or investor is, of course, to make money. But oftentimes we let our emotions, whether they're happy, sad, frustrated, they get in the way of that primary goal. Now, as a wise philosopher once said, everybody has a good plan until they get punched in the face. Okay, that was Mike Tyson. Maybe not a wise philosopher, but however, nonetheless, it's the same thing, right? It's all good until you have a string of losing trades. All investors, all traders have this. And if you haven't, you will. Now, the goal is, how do we survive it? How do we make sure and ensure that we have enough money to continue trading? As investors, as traders, we need to have a very critical key understanding. And that key understanding simply is, it's not about how many times you are right. It's not. As a new trader back in the 90s, I was oftentimes really into probability, statistical accuracy. How many times can I be right? How many times can I be right? Well, one of my mentors drilled into my head, it's not about how many times you're right. It's how much you win when you're right compared to how much you lose when you're wrong. This is a primary key point of being a successful trader, investor, and what I do as an income trader. Now, Dr. David Paul, one of our great colleagues here at VectorVest, had a fantastic presentation about this at the 2023 two-day investment seminar. I would urge you, if you can, watch that presentation. He had a lot of great things to talk about in regards to probability. So I'm going to summarize a few key points with you here in this presentation. Let's reduce this essentially down to a coin flip. A coin flip is a 50-50 probability, correct? Now, let's say that we have a betting rule for this. You're going to bet $1. Every time you win, I'll pay you $2. And every time you lose, you'll lose only $1. Is that a game that you're going to play? Well, hopefully your answer is yes, because, listen, we toss 10 times and you have 5 wins, you're going to make $10. Those 5 losers, you're going to lose $5, but that net result is that you gain 5. Even though the probability is 50-50, because the wins, the amount of money you win versus the amount of money you lose is in your favor, it's a winning strategy. Now remember, it's not about how many times you're right. It's about how much you win when you're right and how much you lose when you are wrong. You know, if I ask traders out there, what are their big fears? One of the big fears is being wrong. Well, Ron, what if I'm wrong more times than I'm right? What if I'm not 60, 70% correct in my trading? And then the second fear is losing money. But that being wrong is one of the biggest ones. Losing money comes secondary to that. And you know what? A lot of systems out there, many systems out there play to that fear. So let's turn this around a little bit. What if your win rate in your trading was 90% and your loss rate was 10%? Well, for every win, we make $1. For every loss, we lose 9. Do you play that game? I hope not, because those 9 trades that you win, you're going to make $9. For every loss, you're going to lose 9. The result is 0. Why would you play that game? 90% right, but at the end of the day, you come out a loser. It's not worth your time, it's not worth your energy, and you're probably not going to be bragging to your friends and colleagues about your 90% win rate because you're not making any money. Now, let's flip this over to a little bit more realistic analogy. Let's say your win rate is only 40%, but your loss rate is 60%. Now, if I told you that I had a trading system that would provide this, probably wouldn't be very popular. You'd turn the page, you'd go on to something else. But what if I told you that every time you won, you would make $7, and every time you lost, you would lose $1? Is that a game that you would play? Well, hopefully the answer to that question is yes. If you took 10 trades, those 4 winners would pay $28. Those 6 losers would cost you $6. And at the end of the day, your result is still a $22 profit. It's not only the win rate, it's the money as well. Don't get caught up in wins and losses. It's all about the money as well. Now, one of the most crucial elements to being a successful trader, investor, income, doesn't matter, is how much to risk on each trade. Well, let's talk about why that is. So let's go back to being a 50-50 trader. As a 50-50 trader, you have 1 loss for every 2 trades. You have 2 losers for every 4 trades, and 3 losers every 6 trades. The probability that 1 loser in a row, 50%. The probability that you'll have a cluster of 2 losers in a row is 25%. The probability of having a cluster of 3 losses in a row is only 12.5%. So what happens if you risk 33% of your account each time that you trade? Well, remember, that probability of 3 losers in a row is 12.5%. So there's a 12.5%, you're going to go broke in 8 trades. Over time, you will go broke risking that type of money because of the math behind this. Now, in order to have a winning mindset, the winning mindset of a trader needs to consider not only the number or the percentage of winners, but you also have to consider the dollar risk as well. Now, this is the key of becoming a good income trader. So let's delve into this a little bit deeper. So now instead of working with just numbers, let's put this into a picture of a graph. So an investor mentality or any trading mentality is this. If I were to go out and buy something, whether I buy 100 shares of stock, whether I buy a call option, whatever you buy because you think or hope that a stock will go up, ultimately taking everything out of the picture, you have a 50-50 chance, right? Because when you buy something, the only way you make money is if that investment or that stock goes higher. What we need to convert to, we have to have a strategic shift into what we call the income mentality. For the first part of this, remember, the winning mindset considers the percentage of winners. So what we're going to do first is we are going to put the probability first in our corner. So what we are going to do as an option trader, now this is where options come into this. I am going to become an option seller. When I think a stock is going to go up, I will strategically pick an option strike price, a put in this case, to sell below the current stock price. So in this case, we have a stock that's trading for about $205. I go below it at $195 and I sell a put option. What I'm doing by doing this is I'm putting the probability of success of this investment or trade in my corner. Why? Because probability says that we only have a 40% chance of that stock going down below 195 over historically the next 7 to 10 days. That gives me the room to make money if the stock goes up, sideways, or down. So I'm putting together that percentage of winners based on my investment strategy. As an income trader, what you need to make sure you're doing is putting the probability of success in your favor. Now, I call these income trades because this is one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction. So the beauty of this is, if you have a winning trade strategy, whatever strategy you're employing, if you're already picking good winners, the best part about doing this is you're going to be stacking even more probability on this. Because if you have a trade that's a 60% winner, sometimes those will go sideways, sometimes those will go against you. By selling an option in this way, you're adding even more probability because now you have the ability to win even if the stock doesn't go in your favor. Now, let's see this in action a little bit. Now, these are some trades that I set up, and I want to talk a little bit about probability here. Now, this was a stock that I traded last year in 2022. It's LNG. It's in a nice uptrend. Last year, I know the market was down overall, but it wasn't always down. There were times during the year when we had to be bullish, and there was times during the year, most of the times, when we had to be bearish. Well, LNG and the energy sector overall was pretty good last year. At the time, this was in August, it was in a nice uptrend, and it was breaking above resistance. So let's move in closer here. You're going to win if LNG stays above this option strike price. Now remember, when we are doing a bullish trade, I sell a put below the price of the stock. So when I look at my option chain, here's what I'm presented with. I can sell a 150. Now, the stock's at 150.77. If I sell a 150 put, that's basically a coin flip. It's at the current price. If I sell a 145, I have a 60% chance of winning. If I sell a 140, I have a 69% chance of having a winning trade. And if I sell D, a 135, I have a 77% chance of winning. Now let's go back and do some math here. So I'm going to make a few notes. Let's assume that we are having a 50% probability of success. So at 50% probability, my wins is $1 and my loss is $1. Is that a winning system? No, it's not a winning system. You're basically going to break even. It's not going to work very well. Now, let's say we go down to 77%, because 77%, right? I don't know about you, but I would love trading at 77% historical accuracy. But what good is that if you win $1 for every win and every loss is $10? Is that going to be a successful strategy? What good is it to trade at a 77% level of success if ultimately it is a losing trade? Now, to make a long story short, what I do as an income trader, I target a base 60% approach. My goal is to win $1 when I'm right and lose $1 when I'm wrong. Is that a winning approach? If I take 10 trades, I'm going to make $6 on my winners, and I'm only going to lose $4 on my losers. That's the beauty of not only trading with good probability, but then also trading with good money management. And that is a crucial part as an income trader. So of course, in a situation like this, I'm going to pick that B, that 60% probability of staying above 145. Now, what I do in a situation like this, I perform what's called a bull put spread. I sell a 145 and I buy a 140 put simultaneously. If the stock moves up fast, I will make money fast. If the stock moves sideways, I will make money, but a little bit slower. If the stock falls below 145, I will take a small proportional loss. Now, in this case, the stock went up over the next 2 days about 5%, and I was able to clear in that trade about a $673 profit. Now, when the market's bearish like it was a lot of times last year, we would look for stocks more like this. This happens to be Sony. Sony had been in an extended downtrend. It breaks below support. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. So again, let's go back to the numbers here. As I open up my option chain of Sony, now mind you, options have built-in probabilities that we're going to work for. We're going to base our stock selection on good fundamentals and good trend analysis. Then after that, I'm going to employ a good probability option play. So the stock's at $77. I go look at my option chain and I see that I have a 96% probable trade. Now remember, that means that over the next 7 to 10 days, the stock will stay below 90. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Over the next 7 to 10 days, there's an 87% chance the stock will stay below 85. Over the next 7 to 10 days, there's a 68% chance that the stock will stay below 80. Now again, start thinking about those numbers. If we look at the percentage of probability, 96% is fantastic. But what good is that if every win I'm making 100, but every loss I'm losing 2,000? It doesn't work. 87%, I'm making, let's say, $100. Every loser, I'm losing $1,500. It doesn't work. But that 60% area where I'm making 100 and losing 100, this works. Now, in a situation like this, I'm performing something called a bear call spread. In this case, I sell an $80 call, simultaneously buy an $85 call. And again, if the stock works well, it goes right down immediately. I can make money fast. In this case, Sony went down about 4% over the next 2 days, and I was exiting with a winning trade of around $630. So let's put the numbers behind this a little bit easier. My win rate, 60%. My loss rate, 40%. That means if I take 100 trades, I'll win 60. If I take 100 trades, I'm going to lose 40. My win is $100 every time I win. My loss is $100 every time I lose. Is that a game that you want to play? Well, let's take a look again. We're looking at a system that over 10 trades, and you can extrapolate this however much data you want, 6 wins is a $600 win. Those 4 losses result in a $400 loss. Your result is a $200 gain. Not only are we right the majority of the time, but we are also putting ourselves into a good money management position. Now, as an income trader, a lot of people ask me, well, Ron, how did this work in 2022? The market was very volatile. You obviously couldn't maintain that percentage of accuracy that you like. And that's true. Last year was probably one of the lowest win rates that I've had in some time. In fact, my win rate last year was only 57%. That means my loss rate was 43%. But here's the key. My average win is $799. My average loss was $676. Well, ultimately, what was the result? Well, I take and use a program called Wingman that allows me to track all of my trades, and using roughly about $70,000 to $75,000 in capital, this is what you would need to do this kind of result. We're looking at about a $28,000 gain. Again, my average winner, $799. My average loser, $676. And you can see, like any normal trading system, you're not going to consistently make money. If somebody goes out there and says, hey, my trading strategy looks like this, and all I do is make money, I want you to run, because that's not realistic. If you take a look at my strategy last year, my approach, I made money in January, February, and March. I had some drawdown in April. I made money in May and June. I had some drawdown in July. I made lots of money in August and September. I had a little bit of drawdown in October and November, and then finally finished out the year as a winner in December. That right there is how a real live system should work. You're going to make money, you're going to have some drawdown, but the key of that is those drawdowns should not wipe out your account. Because as an investor, as an income trader, you have to understand you will have losing clusters. Now, a losing mindset means, okay, it's a losing trade, that must be it's a losing system. Not necessarily. In fact, I can't control, nobody can control when those losing clusters will appear. Let me show you some, and I'm going to break down the trading from last year. I just want to show you some things from my reports. Take a look. Bring this over to the screen. Look at these wins. This happens to be some of my best months from August and September. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 winning trades in a row. Now, had you started that right here and traded all these, you'd be a very happy person. However, look at my losing cluster of trades right before that. This is how it works sometimes. I don't know when the losing clusters will appear, but I know that if I control my probability and I control my risk, I can survive those losing clusters. So remember, at the end of the day, a winning mindset must consider not only the percentage of winners, but the dollar amount of risk. So in 2023, if you're ready to put together that winning mindset, I'd like to introduce you to our Options Paycheck experience. This is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income using these option spreads. It all is about winning percentage and controlling your risk. After you go through this experience, You are going to know exactly how calls and puts work. You're going to learn the terms of options you need to pay attention to and the terms you don't. You will no longer have a fear of options. You're going to get clear signals telling you when to trade, when not to trade, whether to place bullish or bearish trades. You'll be able to quickly identify the stocks, like we saw with LNG and Sony, that are the best trading candidates. You're going to be able to set up income trades so that give you a historical 70% success rate. But if we have a year like 2022, it won't matter. You'll still be able to make money. You're going to have a trade management game plan in place. This is one of the best parts of being an option income trader. We know these risks before the trade is placed. We have a guaranteed max loss. We have a win-in rate. We know before the trade is placed what that loss and gain will be. You'll be able to confidently enter and exit trades with your broker, whether you've done this before or you've never done this before. Ultimately, you are going to learn to implement a system that will allow you to safely and consistently generate income. Now, the course is 8 modules long, and very quickly we start at the beginning with our option income foundation. So those of you that have never traded options before, we've got you covered. And again, it's a comprehensive program that goes through the option part all the way through market direction, stock selection, setting up your options trades correctly, managing them properly, portfolio risk, making sure you're not risking too much, how many contracts to trade, and then finally the execution phase with your broker. I've been teaching this course now at VectorVest for over 6 years, and I'm so confident in it, I offer a full 100% money-back guarantee. The only thing I ask is that you actually go through the curriculum, go through the course, and work with it. As long as you prove to me you've done that, if you're not satisfied, we will offer you a 100% money-back guarantee. I also have some bonuses that go along with the course. In the first month, we have what's called the Mastery Package. There's 8 modules. You'll have 8 module mastery sessions that are all taught to you live. You can ask me questions. We can go over any questions you have or any concerns. We have weekly Q&As as a good wrap-up. So we have 3 live classes a week where you can access those, watch the recordings if you can't make them live, where we will make sure that you are conquering this content. We have an online support community, a private dedicated email access to us. Also, we'll give you access to both the VectorVest and the Options Pro software if you're not currently a subscriber. That way you can test the best tools in the industry to successfully implement this system. We are also in the second month going to be giving you an implementation month. You're going to get access to 8 live trading sessions. Those trades that I showed you in my account, those were placed during my live trading sessions. We're also going to have 2 office hour sessions a week where we can work for more trades. You can ask me questions about trades we've done, maybe things that you're looking at. An opportunity again where we can get together and make sure you are successfully implementing this approach. If you worry that stock selection is going to be a little bit too much based on your time schedule, I also have what's called the SPX Paycheck. I've been trading this now for over a decade, and this is one of the core strategies I use using the income approach. You can do 1 trade in 15 minutes a week, and it has successfully, over the last 7 years, about 2.5% per month over the long haul. Now, just a quick overview of what we have to offer: the complete option paycheck training program, the 8 training modules that go from basic option trading to placing your first income trade, videos, checklists, cheat sheets, quizzes, the mastery package, live mastery sessions plus weekly Q&As, 12 total sessions, active and highly supportive Facebook community, private dedicated email, access to both VectorVest and the Options Pro software if you do not have them, the implementation month. We're going to have 8 total live implementation sessions. We're going to have 2 live office hour sessions a week, and then finally access to our SPX trading sessions. If this is something that you're interested in, get started today. You can sign up at optionspaycheck.com. We have a special price. If you've never taken the Options Paycheck before, you can get signed up for $9.95. That price will run to 7 p.m. Monday. Again, just go to www.optionspaycheck.com. If you are interested in setting up a successful system based on the successful mindset of probability and controlling your risk, the Options Paycheck is for you. With that, I want to bid you all a farewell. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.